What made a military lawyer quit mid-case? I was defending a young private accused of desertion. Simple case, or so I thought. Kid named David Miller, 19 years old, disappeared from his unit in Iraq for 72 hours before turning himself in. Military wanted to make an example. Desertion during wartime carries serious penalties. Could mean decades in prison, dishonorable discharge, complete destruction of his future. Miller insisted he wasn't deserting. Said he'd found something that command didn't want exposed. Kept rambling about a village, civilian casualties, cover-ups. I figured it was PTSD talking. Started building a mental health defense. Combat stress, temporary insanity, anything to keep him out of Leavenworth. Standard procedure for cases like this. Then I got the prosecution's evidence file. Something didn't add up. Miller's unit reported him missing on Tuesday, but radio logs showed his voice on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. How do you desert and still be on duty? Dug deeper. Found discrepancies everywhere. Duty rosters didn't match patrol logs. Equipment signouts were backdated. Someone was doctoring records to support the desertion charge. Asked Miller directly, what really happened out there? He broke down crying. Told me his unit had been ordered to clear a suspected insurgent compound. Found nothing but families, old men, women, children. No weapons, no military equipment. Lieutenant ordered us to waste them anyway, Miller said. Called it preemptive action. Said they were probably Taliban sympathizers. Miller refused the order. Got into a shouting match with his lieutenant. Other soldiers backed the officer. Miller was outnumbered, outranked, alone. So I walked away, he said. Couldn't be part of a massacre. Spent 3 days in the desert trying to figure out what to do. I didn't believe him initially. Sounded like every war crime defense I'd ever heard. Blame the commanding officer, claim moral high ground, hope for sympathy. But then I found the photos on his phone. Pictures he'd taken before walking away. Bodies in that compound. 17 civilians, including 6 children under 10 years old. My blood ran cold. This wasn't combat. This was murder. And my client was the only witness who could testify about it. Confronted the prosecution, showed them the evidence, expected them to drop charges, open an investigation into the real crime. Instead, they doubled down. Miller's obviously disturbed. Probably took those photos from the internet. Classic deflection technique. That's when I realized what was happening. Command knew about the massacre. They were using the desertion charge to silence the only witness. If Miller went to prison for decades, he couldn't testify about what he saw. Requested access to the unit's after-action reports, denied. Asked for radio transcripts from that week, classified. Demanded witness interviews with other soldiers, unavailable for operational security reasons. Every door slammed shut. My own chain of command started pressuring me to take a plea deal. Don't make this bigger than it needs to be. Kid walks away with time served if he keeps quiet. The final straw came during a meeting with my supervising officer. Colonel Williams, 20-year veteran, looked me straight in the eye and said, "Some things are more important than one soldier's life. Think about the bigger picture." What bigger picture? I asked. Covering up war crimes? Maintaining unit cohesion? Protecting the mission? You wouldn't understand. That night, I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about those photos. Dead children in their own homes. And my client facing decades in prison for refusing to participate. Next morning, I walked into court and withdrew from the case. Told the judge I had irreconcilable differences with my client's defense strategy. Standard legal language that meant nothing and everything. Miller got assigned a new lawyer. Kid took the plea deal 3 days later. 5 years in military prison. Dishonorable discharge. Permanent silence about what really happened in that compound. I submitted my resignation the same day. 20-year military career over. Law license suspended pending investigation into my unprofessional conduct. Never practiced military law again. Couldn't stomach being part of a system that protected killers and punished witnesses. Miller served his time quietly. Got out in 2018. Last I heard, he was working construction in Ohio trying to rebuild his life. Those photos haunted me for years. 17 people died for nothing, and the only man brave enough to say no got crucified for it.